Hey everyone, it's Mattowarrior here with the band Pathless Land, and I'm going to be talking about the stories behind the songs on Alchemy, Mystery, and Mastery. So what is the Master Sword about? Well, for anybody that follows video games, or particularly fantasy video games, they know there's something called the Master Sword that you get in the game series Legend of Zelda. And as nerdy and silly and cheesy as it seems, that's what the song's about. And I don't know what exactly inspired me to write a song about the Legend of Zelda. You know, I think maybe a lot of these bands that I've liked over the years have written about a lot of different fantasy stuff, Lord of the Rings, or various things like that. And I thought, Legend of Zelda would be a cool story, basically, or mythos to explore in a song, and that's what I decided to do. What was the process recording the Master Sword? Well, I'm just going to say it was hell, because the riff is very convoluted and very difficult to play as far as how it's kind of strummed, but there's a lot of different chord inversions that you reach across the guitar and play. And then, for anybody that knows about playing guitar or music theory, so there's like muted strings, and then there's pedal points, and then there's all this stuff that I do with the main riff, which is extremely difficult, especially considering the fact that I decided to re-record it with a 7-string, which is basically you're using 5 or 6 strings at a time during some of the riffs, which is very hard to record as well because it's hard to get that clarity. So I'm happier with this version than the previous versions. There's also a version of me on vocals, which I may release just for the hell of it, just for fun, even though it's not spectacular. But there's some things in there where the session vocalist didn't do the same parts that I did that, kind of spice it up in a different way, so I may release that. I got a different drummer this time to do the version on the Alchemy release, because the previous drummer that I used for that song didn't put in the blast beats that I requested, and I didn't want to pay the extra money really to have him redo the drums again, or I don't remember exactly what happened, but I accepted the drums, and then I was happy with them, but then I decided I wanted the blast beats after all, so I cut and pasted on the original version that's on Bandcamp on the EP, the Master Sword. I cut and pasted some looped drum blast beats. So if you're unfamiliar with a blast beat, it's kind of like this extreme metal thing where it's this blast drums. It's kind of a death metal, black metal thing where it's super fast, like a Blur kind of stuff. Well, that brings me to the next thing. What bands or artists inspired the Master Sword? Well, obviously Dragon Force, especially some of their newer albums, have inspired me. I happen to think that they've kind of had this turning point where they're become a little bit more riff-oriented than previous albums. And I like that direction, especially like the album Maximum Overload from 2014. In particular, the game, the song "The Game" which is the first song on the album, inspired the Master Sword. You can kind of tell, kind of has a similar feel. And strangely enough, some of Queen's 80s stuff kind of inspired a little bit of like the chorus, believe it or not. And, Princess of the Universe in particular, that's the name of the song from their not Flash Gordon, but the Highlander soundtrack. That kind of inspired the chorus, kind of Iron Maiden, Queen, a lot of different stuff. So that kind of is the core of that song, the Master Sword. Now the orchestral section is inspired by these guys with the power of thy sword, because I wanted to do a little orchestral section where you have, just the vocals and orchestra kind of stuff. What do I think of the Master Sword now? Well, I like it quite a bit. I think it is influencing my future direction in Pathless Land, where I do write at least 3 or 4 songs each release, where it's maybe 2 to 4 songs each release where it's just straight on power metal with some other influences. I don't like to go too far into the power metal realm all the time, obviously, no. So that's it. The Master Sword, I do like it. I think the only test of how good the song would be is when it's going to be played live in the future and see, how people get into it. It's fast, it's fun, it's relatively simple, and it is what it is. And on to the next segment of this Stories Behind the Songs.